The colossal expanse of the Galactic Council chamber stretched endlessly, crystalline walls shimmering with the glow of 1,000 worlds. Delegates from across the stars occupied floating platforms that orbited the central floor like planetary rings. Today's gathering was unlike any before, confusion etched on every alien visage. At the podium stood Admiral Zakara of the Vortanian Empire, her forearms motioning toward the holographic projection of Earth's solar system. The familiar blue-green planet hovered amid defensive arrays, the standard fortifications expected when opposing the Council's might, yet something was deeply amiss. Fellow Council members, Admiral Zakara's voice resounded, carried through translators that echoed in clicks, hisses, and melodic tones. We have received Earth's answer to our ultimatum. If sent, one ship. Silence swallowed the room before shouts erupted across the platforms. The sacred reptilian delegate stood abruptly, his scales flaring from perplexity to fury. One vessel against our united fleet of 12,000 warships? Have these humans gone mad? High above, the ethereal collective floated within their energy lattice, thoughts radiating into every mind. In 3 million years of galactic history, no species has ever answered our ultimatum with a single vessel. This defies all precedent. Commander Belter of the hegemony military leaned in, his 6 eyes narrowing at the display. Perhaps they misunderstood. Shall we transmit another message? No, Zakara answered sharply. The message was explicit in their primitive dialect. Surrender your resources and submit as a client species, or face annihilation. Every civilization has either complied swiftly or challenged us with full fleets and failed. None sent merely one ship. The Crystalline Confederation's delegate spoke, voice like shattering glass. Might this be symbolic surrender? A gesture of tribute. Our fleet reports the ship holds position at their solar system's perimeter. Motionless, but prepared, the tactical officer informed. In the distant dark beyond Earth's outer planets, Captain Lisa Howard stood aboard the bridge of USC, defiant humanity's lone champion. The compact bridge emphasized function over grandeur. Around her, 200 human crew members worked with calm precision. Unfazed by what enemies surely expected, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Bell approached from comms, his face puzzled. Captain, the alien fleet is flooding us with communication requests. They seem ... genuinely perplexed by our numbers. Lisa's grin was grim as she observed the vast array on screen. 12,000 ships of myriad designs, coalition of dozens of species. Humanity had sent a lone vessel, scarcely 400 meters long. Let them wonder. Ryan, the deadliest opponent is the one who refuses to play by your rules. The Defiant, 5 years in secret construction, concealed technologies beyond the grasp of most humans, let alone aliens. Outwardly, it seemed a typical Earth warship, bristling with armaments and defenses, but its core held impossible innovations. Captain, called Lieutenant Amy Chen from navigation. The fleet holds formation at the system's edge. No retreat there waiting for us to reveal our hand, Lisa replied. They can't fathom that we sent just one ship. Back at the council, the debate raged. Plasma beings of pure energy shimmered anxiously in containment fields. This is tactically senseless. Either humans are fools, or they wield an unknown power. One entity pulsed. The hive mind spoke through their queen, her voice echoing with billions of minds. Our analysis yields 3 outcomes. First, humans surrender with a gesture we misinterpret. Second, they're deranged, believing one ship suffices. Third, they wield a weapon that renders numbers meaningless. The third chat GPT said, "That option troubles me most," Admiral Zathera admitted. In all our campaigns, we've never faced a species that deviated from conventional military strategy. Even the most advanced races scaled their fleets proportionally to the threat, the mechanical collective speaking via their primary processing unit contributed coldly. Our strategic computers have simulated every possible scenario. In 99.7% of cases, the logical response would be immediate surrender or the deployment of maximum defenses. A single ship reply falls within the 0.3% of outcomes classified as impossible. Aboard the Defiant, Chief Engineer Danny Martinez climbed up from the lower decks, his uniform stained with exotic materials. Captain, all systems are at peak readiness. Dr. Williams says we're ready for the demonstration whenever you give the word. Lisa nodded. How's the crew holding up under the pressure, Danny? Better than we could hope, Captain. Everyone knows what's at stake. This isn't just about saving Earth. It's about proving we deserve our place in this galaxy. It's not as subjects, but as equals. Dr. Patricia Williams, the ship's theoretical physicist, stepped onto the bridge, her normally composed face showing fatigue and tension. Captain, I've run the numbers 17 times. The physics checks out, but this is still uncharted territory. No one's ever attempted this at such scale. Patty, do you think it'll work? Lisa asked. The quantum field generators are stable, and the consciousness link protocols are functioning perfectly. It's not about whether it works, it's whether they'll comprehend what we're about to show them. At the CUM station, Lieutenant Carl Johnson glanced up. Captain, incoming direct transmission from the Galactic Council flagship, Fleet Admiral Corvus himself. Lisa straightened her uniform. Put him through audio only. The speakers crackled with the filtered sound of alien translation tech. Human vessel. This is Fleet Admiral Corvus of the Galactic Hegemony. Your species has been issued surrender terms. Do you acknowledge, Admiral? This is Captain Lisa Howard of the United Earth ship Defiant. We acknowledge your terms. Then you surrender and submit to the Galactic Council's authority. No, Admiral. We reject your terms. Pause followed, the alien's confusion evident. You reject ... with a single ship? Captain, perhaps you misunderstand. Fleet numbers 12,000 vessels surrounding your system. You have one? Admiral, I understand perfectly, Lisa said calmly. We have one ship because one ship is enough. The transmission cut off, leaving a tense quiet on the bridge. Lisa turned to her crew, their expressions firm and resolute. Well, people, now they know our answer. Alert, all stations. To prepare for the demonstration, as the crew began final checks, Lisa's mind wandered to the journey that had led them here. Just 3 years ago, first contact with the Galactic Council had seemed like humanity's greatest triumph. The revelation that they weren't alone, ... the fleet's transmissions, but remained silent otherwise. Admiral Corvus growled low in his throat, frustration tightening his posture. No reinforcements, no retreats, no diplomacy. What is their strategy? Commander Velter hesitated. Unknown, Admiral. Our analysts can't make sense of it. Their behavior violates every known military model. Corvus scowled. His species had crushed all previous foes with sheer dominance of numbers and firepower, and here they stood opposed by one Defiant ship that refused to act as it should. Across the void, aboard the Defiant, Lisa stood at the main viewport. Watching the distant shimmer of the enemy fleet, beside her, Dr. Williams spoke quietly. 3 days of waiting. They must be thinking we're insane. Lisa smiled faintly. Let them. That uncertainty is our first victory. They're expecting a war. They're not prepared for what we're about to do. The bridge crew worked with disciplined calm, every station humming with quiet focus. The quantum field generators were stable, the consciousness link systems primed. They all knew what was coming, they just didn't know if it would work, though. Way they hoped. Back on the Council flagship, Corvus stopped pacing and turned sharply to Velter. Prepare the fleet to advance. We've waited long enough. If they won't yield, we will crush them. Yes, Admiral Velter replied, relaying the order through the fleet's network, but as the Council warships powered weapons and adjusted formation, a signal pulsed from the Defiant, subtle yet powerful, a unique quantum signature blooming from the human ship's core. Lisa's voice rang out on the Defiant's intercom. All stations, execute the demonstration. Let's change their understanding of reality. On every alien sensor across the fleet, impossible readings began flooding in. Space around the Defiant shimmered, then fractured like glass under pressure. The laws of physics bent and twisted in ways no species had ever seen. Suddenly, the Defiant was no longer just a ship, was something else entirely. something that existed in multiple places, multiple states at once, and for the first time. In 3 million years of galactic warfare, the Council's finest warriors felt something they did not understand. Fear. ... will propagate cleanly across all nodes. No risk of feedback collapse. Lisa gave him an approving nod. Good work, Danny and the crew. Ready, Captain? They know the stakes. No one hesitated. Lisa turned back to the view screen, her gaze fixed on the glittering spread of enemy ships. 3 days of silence, and still they wait, she muttered. Let's make sure it was worth it. She glanced at Dr. Williams. Status of the consciousness link. Stable across. The board, Patricia confirmed. Every participant is synchronized. Once we begin, there'll be no turning back. Lisa nodded, a quiet steel in her voice. Then it's time. At communications, Lieutenant Carl Johnson spoke up. Captain, the alien flagship is hailing. Us again. Audio only. Put it through. The bridge speakers buzzed to life with the familiar translated voice of Fleet Admiral Corvus. Human vessel, this is your final warning. You have 6 hours to comply with the Galactic Council's demand. Surrender your world, or face total annihilation. Lisa responded calmly.
Admiral.
Our answer remains unchanged. A long pause followed before Corvus replied, his tone edged with irritation. So be it. You've chosen destruction. The transmission cut off. Lisa looked around the bridge, meeting the eyes of her crew. We didn't choose destruction, she said quietly. We chose defiance. She stepped forward, her voice steady. All stations, prepare for activation of the quantum field. This is what we've trained for. Across the Defiant crew members moved with practiced precision, securing systems, confirming connections, bracing for what was to come. Donnie Martinez tapped his console. Quantum multipliers primed, Captain. Patricia Williams verified the data one last time. Field integrity is holding. Consciousness link is green. We're ready. Lisa exhaled slowly, then gave the order. Begin the demonstration. The bridge lights dimmed slightly as power surged to the hidden systems deep within the Defiant's core. Outside, space itself seemed to ripple around the ship, as if reality was being rewritten. On the flagship of the Galactic Council, sensors flared with impossible readings. Corvus stared at the displays, uncomprehending. What? What are they doing? No one had an answer. But the galaxy was about to witness something no species had ever dared to attempt, because humanity had gambled everything on the belief that thinking differently was their ultimate weapon. Their formations and intensified their scans. The Defiant remained still its presence, a solitary defiance against the void. On the Defiant's bridge, Chief Engineer Martinez wiped his hands on his stained uniform. Captain, quantum generators are primed. The duplication system is locked and ready. When you give the order, we'll create 50 fully functional copies of the Defiant. Each crewed, each armed, each real. Lisa nodded. That a time limit? About an hour, Captain. After that, power drain will force us to collapse some copies, or we risk burning the whole system out. Lieutenant Amy Chen turned from her console. Priority transmission again, Captain? It's Admiral Corvus. He's requesting immediate contact visual. Lisa smoothed her uniform, settling into the captain's chair. Put him through. The main screen lit up, revealing the grand bridge of the alien flagship. Towering, elegant technology hummed in the background. Admiral Corvus stood in the center, his 4 eyes locked on Lisa with cold scrutiny. Captain Howard, he began. His tone clipped. Your deadline expires in 6 hours. This is your last chance to surrender peacefully. Lisa's voice was steady. I appreciate your patience, Admiral, but our answer is unchanged. We will not surrender. Corvus's formal veneer cracked into visible confusion. Captain ... Are you prepared to doom your entire species for pride? One ship cannot withstand the force we bring. Lisa's eyes narrowed. Admiral, may I ask you? In all your history, have you ever faced a civilization that sent only one ship against certain annihilation? Corvus paused, his gaze tightening. No, Captain. This is unprecedented. Every species follows predictable doctrine surrender or deploy overwhelming fleets. And what does your doctrine say about an enemy that refuses those patterns? The admiral's silence hung heavy before he answered, that they are either irrational or possess capabilities unknown to us. Leaning forward, Lisa's expression hardened. We are not irrational, Admiral. We didn't come here to die gloriously. We came to prove your understanding of... Warfare is incomplete. Corvus's brow furrowed. Explain. You think strength is numbers and firepower? That the largest fleet wins? But what if the real power is in changing the rules altogether? The Admiral's confusion deepened, his expression darkening. Captain, I've studied war for over 2 centuries. The principles are universal. Numbers and technology always win. Lisa met his gaze. Always, Admiral. Even when your enemy refuses to play the game by your rules? Corvus stared, then abruptly cut the transmission. On the Defiance bridge, Lisa scanned her crew's anxious but resolute faces. We've got his attention. Now let's show them just how wrong they are. Aboard the flagship Corvus stood motionless, eyes fixed where Lisa's image had vanished. His officers waited for orders, but the Admiral was lost in thought. Finally, his voice broke the silence. Increase sensor sweeps on the human vessel. I want full data technology, armaments, defenses, and contact the Council. Tell them we may need. More time? More time, sir? Yes, Corvus said quietly. These humans, either they're mad, or they've uncovered something we cannot see yet. Outside, the alien fleet shifted cautiously as the Defiant waited alone. But not for long. As the alien fleet intensified their scans, the crew of the UES Defiant completed their final checks. In 6 hours, the galaxy would either witness a revolution in warfare, or humanity would fall. But Captain Lisa Howard had made her choice. She would not die today. She had come to prove that humanity deserved a place among the stars as equals, not subordinates. And soon, 12,000 alien warships would learn that the most dangerous enemy wasn't the one with the most firepower. It was the one who approached the problem in a way no one had ever considered. The 6-hour countdown ticked by like the slow march of fate. Lisa stood on the Defiance bridge, watching the chronometer approach 0. Round her, the crew moved. With steady precision, unshaken by the enormity of what lay ahead, Captain, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Bell reported, all systems are green. Quantum field generators are stable. Consciousness link protocols holding steady. Lisa nodded, eyes fixed on the tactical display. The alien fleet filled the screen, 12,000 ships in disciplined formation. Their weapons hot, waiting for humanity's move. Any one of those ships could obliterate the Defiant in a single strike. Still they waited. Dr. Williams, Lisa called out. Status on the quantum multipliers? A. Dr. Patricia Williams glanced up from her console, her face lined with exhaustion. All calculations check out, Captain. The generators will produce stable quantum duplicates of the ship and crew. Every duplicate will be fully functional and real for about an hour. The crew is fully briefed on the consciousness link. Everyone understands their awareness will be shared across all copies simultaneously. It's never been done at this scale, but the science holds. Chief Engineer Danny Martinez arrived from engineering, grease-stained and worn, but determined. Power. Reserves are charged, Captain. We've got enough juice to sustain 50 duplicates for the full hour. After that, we'll have to start shutting some down or risk blowing the core. Lisa inhaled deeply, then keyed the shipwide comms. All hands, this is the captain. In 60 seconds, we begin the demonstration that will decide humanity's future. You all volunteered for this mission knowing the risks. You knew survival wasn't guaranteed. But remember why we're here. This isn't just for Earth, it's for the right of humanity to exist in this galaxy as free beings. Bridge grew still, the only sound the soft pulse of the ship's systems humming in anticipation. Ask ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT. Impossible, Admiral Corvus muttered, his eyes darting between displays. One ship cannot become 50.
Ow.
No species has this capability. On the bridge of the Defiant, all of them, Lisa smiled faintly, her voice resonating across the consciousness. Link, you asked why we sent only one ship, Admiral. Now you understand. We don't need numbers. We bring possibility. Her voice echoed on the bridge of every duplicate Defiant. And the crew across all ships responded in perfect sync. Their movements mirrored, their thoughts intertwined. This was no fleet in the traditional sense. It was one mind, one strategy. Projected through 50 warships, Patricia Williams monitored the systems, her consciousness stretching across each ship's sensors. Quantum field integrity is holding, Captain. We can sustain the fleet for the full hour as projected. Good, Lisa replied across all decks. We won't need more than that. In the alien fleet, panic spread faster than orders. Commanders demanded explanations their scientists couldn't give. Their understanding of warfare, of reality itself, was crumbling before them. Admiral Corvus, Lisa's voice came again, now broadcasting directly to the alien fleet. Humanity is not the strongest, nor the most numerous. But we refuse to think like the rest of you. We've changed the rules. Corvus stood motionless, his pride and doctrine battling against the terror in his mind. You can't sustain this. It must be a trick illusion, or temporary. Perhaps, Lisa said, her tone even. But ask yourself how many of your ships will survive finding out the truth the hard way. On every Defiant, weapon systems powered up, the hum of charged particle cannons and missile bays ready to fire. In unison, the galaxy had always believed that victory belonged to the side with the largest fleet. But as the Defiant fleet aimed its weapons, it was clear this was not just a fleet, it was a statement. A warning. And for the first time in his career, Admiral Corvus truly hesitated. Done what no species has ever accomplished. They have changed the very nature of warfare itself. His voice, usually so assured, now carried a weight of disbelief and awe. Around him, the officers of the flagship exchanged uncertain glances, their training offering no protocol for this situation. On the Defiant bridges, Lisa stood amidst her unified crew. The sensation of awareness spread across 50 ships, making her feel both omnipresent and grounded. Every breath, every movement echoed through 50 realities in harmony. Lisa said through the link. Begin phase 2 of the demonstration. Aye, Captain, Dr. Williams answered. Initiating field modulation now. On alien sensors, the quantum signatures of the Defiant fleet began to shift again. Not only did the ships multiply, but their energy profiles started to fluctuate in ways that mimicked entirely different classes of warships, battleships, carriers, even configurations no alien database could classify. Each signature seemed unique, making it impossible for the alien fleet to determine which Defiants were real, which were decoys, and which might be something entirely new. Admiral Corvus watched helplessly as his tactical displays descended into chaos. Admiral, Commander Velter said with a trembling voice, our targeting systems can't lock on reliably. Every scan shows a different result. We can't even tell which ones to engage. This is not war, Corvus whispered to himself. This is something else. Lisa's voice cut across the void once more. You see now, Admiral? War isn't about numbers. It's about understanding possibilities you refuse to imagine. On the bridge of the flagship, Corvus stared silently at the kaleidoscope of impossible data. He had led fleets across 17 star systems, crushed empires, and dictated surrender countless times. But now, for the first time, he stood on the brink of admitting defeat before a single human shot had been fired. Admiral, his officer pressed again. What are your orders? Corvus exhaled slowly, his pride warring with survival instinct. We, wait. We observe. We do not engage. Not until we understand. At that moment, Lisa Howard knew. They had already won the first battle without firing a single shot. We'll operate them with perfect synchronization. Any formation we deploy can be outmaneuvered before we even execute. Admiral Corvus nodded grimly. We are dealing with an enemy that can change the numerical balance of battle at will without reinforcements, without supply lines. Our numerical superiority has been nullified. A gruff voice followed from Commander Jorvak of the Hegemony's assault corps. Their duplication has limits. We should strike before they can recover. Overwhelm them before they collapse there. Quantum field. Corvus shook his head. We don't even know what their limits are. An uncalculated assault could cost us thousands of ships, You've never fought an enemy who thinks like this. Silence settled over the room. Every officer coming to the same grim realization. Their doctrine was obsolete against such an enemy. Then, "What do you propose, Admiral?" Ethera asked. Corvus's 4 eyes narrowed. "We request guidance from the Council. If they approve, we open negotiations. If not, we prepare for a kind of war we've never imagined." Meanwhile, back aboard the Defiant fleet, Lisa stood at the center of her bridges, her awareness alive in 50 bodies, 50 minds, yet fully hers. "Status?" she asked across the link. "All systems stable," Dr. Williams reported. 44 minutes of full duplication capacity remaining. "Weapon systems green," Ryan Bell added. "Shields steady across all vessels." Lisa took a breath. The aliens were shaken, their movements hesitant. No fleet had ever hesitated before firing on an outnumbered enemy, but Lisa knew it wasn't numbers that held them back. It was the fear of the unknown. "Hold formation," she commanded. "Out. Let them feel the pressure." And the Defiant fleet continued to drift in synchronized, fluid patterns, and elegant, silent warning in the cold dark of space. Different relationship, one built on respect, not domination. The room remained heavy with tension. The alien commanders exchanged glances, each grappling with the sheer magnitude of what they faced. For the first time, it was not fear of weapons that shackled them, it was the fear of an enemy who had fundamentally redefined the rules. Admiral Corvus stared into the image of Captain Howard, her form flickering between overlapping quantum states. This was not just a commander of a ship. She was, in a sense, a fleet incarnate. "And if we refuse?" the Admiral asked cautiously. Lisa's expression didn't change, but her voice carried weight like a coming storm. "We refuse? We will defend ourselves, not just with force, but with ideas you cannot yet imagine. And if we fall, humanity will still have taught the galaxy that there are ways of fighting you never prepared for." Corvus exhaled slowly, his pride eroded by pragmatism. He could crush a weaker species, but against this, even victory might be hollow and catastrophic. "We will relay your proposal to the Galactic Council," Corvus said at last. "But understand, Captain, you've shaken the foundations of our order. Even if peace is possible, others may not accept it easily." Lisa nodded. Change is. Never easy, Admiral, but it is necessary. The galaxy can either evolve, or it can fall to those who do. The screen went dark, leaving the alien commanders in heavy silence. For the first time in galactic history, the hegemony had been stopped not by overwhelming force, but by a single ship that taught them to fear the unknown. "Duplicates, Captain," Dr. Williams replied. "At that point, we'll either need to collapse. The extras or risk critical system failures across all ships." Lisa nodded. "Understood. Keep me updated." Lieutenant Commander Ryan Bell approached, data pad in hand. "Long-range sensors show no signs of fleet movement. The aliens are holding position, but there comes traffic is intense. I'd say they're in complete disarray." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. "Good. That buys us time." On the alien flagship, Admiral Corvus finally stood before the holographic assembly of the Galactic Council. Dozens of species represented, each in their unique forms, and all displaying varying degrees of confusion and frustration. "Explain again, Admiral," the primary council speaker demanded, a voice that seemed to hum across frequencies. "You are telling us that the humans primitive, by all accounts, possess technology that allows them to multiply their forces infinitely." Corvus shook his head. "Not infinitely, speaker, but unpredictably. They've introduced a capability we've never accounted for. Multiplication through quantum duplication and shared consciousness."
Ow.
Murmurs of disbelief echoed across the chamber. One counselor asked, "If this is true, why have they not attacked?" Corvus straightened. "Because they don't need to. The threat is implicit. They've demonstrated that with one ship they can match fleets and more. Their power lies not in destruction, but in the fear of what we cannot understand." The chamber fell silent. Then, at last, the speaker declared, "You will return to the humans and begin negotiation. We will not risk annihilation over pride. Corvus bowed his head. Understood. Back aboard the Defiant, the come station chimed. Chen turned. Captain, incoming transmission from the alien flagship. They wish to discuss terms. Lisa smiled. Quiet but resolute. Open a channel. As the screen flickered to life, Lisa Howard stood composed.
Alex.
Surrounded by 50 ships and one undeniable truth. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of the galaxy, not with numbers,
Act.
but with imagination. Ask ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT. Membership in the Galactic Council as equals. The chamber fell into stunned silence, not just aboard the Defiant, but across every bridge, every council platform, and within the consciousness of every human linked across the quantum field. Even Lisa took a moment to process the magnitude of the offer. You would grant us full membership? She asked carefully. Without conquest? Without submission? Yes, Wardith confirmed. Your species has demonstrated that you cannot be subdued through conventional means. To attempt destruction would cost us dearly, and perhaps still fail. Instead, we recognize that your presence will fundamentally reshape galactic civilization. By granting you full membership, we can adapt together, rather than risk annihilation for both sides. Whispers and murmurs rippled across the council delegates. Some watched with suspicion, others with curiosity, but none with the contempt they had shown when humanity first stood defiant. Lisa exchanged a glance with her crooch of them across 50 bridges, felt the same cautious hope ripple through their shared consciousness. She turned back to the screen. Hi, Chancellor. Humanity has no desire to dominate or disrupt. We seek only our place among the stars, as equals. If the Council is prepared to treat us with respect and autonomy, then we are prepared to accept. The High Chancellor nodded gravely. Then let this be the beginning of a new era. We will dispatch envoys to formalize the terms of your membership. Until then, you have our word that no hostile action will be taken against Earth or your vessels. With that, the transmission ended. For a long moment, the bridge of the Defiant was quiet. Then Lisa turned to her crew, pride and relief in her voice. We did it, she said softly. Not just for Earth, but for humanity's place in the galaxy. 50 ships drifted in perfect formation, a testament to human ingenuity, defiance, and the simple truth they had forced the galaxy to accept. Humanity would not be conquered. Membership in the Galactic Council as equals with all the rights and responsibilities such status entailed. The chamber erupted into chaos. Representatives from across the galaxy shouted their reactions at once. Some cheered the proposal, others protested furiously, while many demanded clarification on what this unprecedented offer would truly mean. On his flagship, Admiral Corvus watched the transmission in stunned silence. Feeling an emotion foreign to his 2 centuries of military service relief, the High Chancellor had found a path that avoided the catastrophic war any attempt to conquer humanity would have provoked. Lisa Howard's voice cut through the storm. High Chancellor, what would such membership require of humanity? Reply was clear. It would require your species to share your quantum consciousness technology with the Council for defensive purposes only. It would require adherence to galactic law, contribution to the common defense of all member worlds, and a commitment to responsibilities no species has ever been offered upon first contact. Lisa turned to her crew, as these men and women had volunteered for a mission that could have meant humanity's extinction. Now, they stood at the threshold of becoming equals in a civilization millions of years older than their own. High Chancellor, I consult with my government before providing a formal response. Of course, Captain. You have 24 hours? But no, this opportunity will not be extended again. Reject it, and humanity will be deemed a threat to galactic stability. The communication ended. Silence filled the bridge of the UEE's Defiant. Lisa Howard felt the weight of history settle on her shoulders. They hadn't just survived, they'd opened a door no human had ever dared imagine, Captain. Dr. Williams called from engineering. Power levels are critical. We need to reduce the number of duplicates immediately. All ships, Lisa ordered. Her voice broadcasting across 50 bridges. Reduced to 25 duplicates. Maintain defensive formation. We've made our point. The quantum field generators powered down, and half of the duplicates dissolved back into probability waves. But 25 vessels remain more than enough to remind the galaxy that humanity's offer of peace came not from weakness, but unmatched strength. At navigation, Lieutenant Amy Chen blinked back tears of joy. Captain, ... we did it. Actually did it, no Amy, Lisa said, smiling across 25 bridges. We didn't just save humanity, we changed the galaxy's understanding of what's possible. Back on Earth, President John Carter received Lisa's full report. Within hours. The emergency session of the United Nations that followed lasted only 2 hours. Every nation on Earth voted unanimously to accept the Galactic Council's offer. 3 days later, the Defiant returned to Earth, orbit escorted by a small contingent of Council ships bearing the first alien ambassadors to humanity's homeworld. For the first time, alien vessels crossed Earth's skies in peace. Lisa Howard stood on the Defiant's observation deck, watching Earth slowly turning beneath her. The quantum consciousness technology that had saved humanity would now be shared, but strictly under human terms for peaceful purposes only. Admiral Corvus, now assigned as the Council's military liaison to Earth, stepped up beside her at the viewing port. Captain Howard, he said, his voice low. When this confrontation began, I expected it to end very differently. Admiral, Lisa replied, sometimes the best way to win a war is to prove that it doesn't need to be fought. Corvus inclined his head, the admission genuine. Indeed, your species has taught the galaxy something invaluable. Victory doesn't always come from having the most ships or the biggest guns. Sometimes it comes from rethinking the problem entirely. Lisa smiled as she watched the mingling fleets above Earth-human and alien ships alike. We sent one ship, Admiral, because we knew one ship, crewed by humans willing to think differently, was enough to change everything. The galaxy had demanded to know why humanity had sent only one vessel. The answer reshaped them all, because one ship was enough to prove that when the rules themselves are the problem, the only real power lies. In changing the game? Asked ChatGPT.